Jigsaw!
You don't watch news?
No, who is he?
He's a serial killer.
No, he's not. He's testing us. He wants us to survive this.
Saw 2 is one of the most beloved entries in the entire franchise. And yet, did you know that it started life as completely sawless? That's right, they repurposed a non-Jigsaw related script into what we would now know as the first sequel. From a pit of 120,000 fake needles to an original filming schedule of just 21 days, this had nearly everything working against it. So let's see how they were able to interweave the Saw narrative and whether it worked as we take a look at what the happened to Saw 2.
The rules are simple. What you have to do is sit here and talk to me.
What?
You have to play by the fucking rules.
For those that weren't there, it's hard to get across just how big of a deal Saw was back in the day. It took Sundance by storm and really cemented James Wan and Leigh Whannell as the future of horror. You were able to place yourself into these characters' shoes and ask yourself whether you could get yourself out of these traps. It was the ultimate fan participation. That ending was something that had everyone talking and even left things open. What was Jigsaw up to? And given its cheap formula, a sequel was almost a given, even had it only minorly succeeded. But the movie ended up making over $100 million at the box office. And this journey towards a sequel actually began before the first film was even released. Darren Lynn Bousman had mostly been a production assistant and directed various short films. But when his parents, who were supporting his Hollywood dream, gave him just 1 year till he needed to return home to Kansas or get a real job, Bousman knew that he needed to get his ass into gear. So he wrote his script, The Desperate, which he called a claustrophobic bloodbath set inside a house where people were killing each other off one by one. Bousman sent the script out to anyone who would take it, but also had an unexpected supporter in his corner, the director of photography of Saw, David A. Armstrong. It eventually came across the desk of Greg Hoffman, who was a big fan. He called up Bousman and told him that Twisted Pictures wanted to make The Desperate as their next film. But after Hoffman showed it to his producing partners, Mark Berg and Orrin Cools, there was another fateful phone call. Orrin called Greg and said, "Wait, let's turn The Desperate into Saw 2. Bousman was attached to The Desperate script as a director, but given that he had never directed a full-length feature, the decision makers needed some convincing. Thankfully, the DP of the original was in his corner and Lionsgate exec Peter Block was sold on his pitch, so they agreed to let Bousman direct the film. In order to get the screenplay more in line with the first one and follow along in that universe, one of the original film's writers, Leigh Whannell, did a polish on the script. But just how different was the original script to what we would see on screen? According to Bousman himself, even he has difficulty drawing comparisons between the two. He mostly attributes it to the gritty atmosphere, ultra-violence, and twist ending. So it seems as though Whannell's work on the project is more significant than anyone has ever really let on. The basic framework may have been Bousman's, but Whannell is who provided us so many of the great twists and turns. The story of Saw 2 follows Detective Eric Matthews on his hunt for the notorious Jigsaw killer. But when he finds him, there's a game at play, and he must try and rescue the victims before it's too late. We get plenty of new traps, memorable moments, and even a signature twist that goes down as one of the best of the series. And obviously big spoilers here because we're going to get into the ending a bit. Unlike the first film, which would see John Kramer doing all of this himself, I mean, at least until a sequel tells us otherwise, we see that he now has an apprentice, and it's none other than the reverse bear trap victim herself from the first film, Amanda. She appreciates her life more now and wants to continue John's work, so they plant her into the game in order to protect Eric's son Daniel and ensure he gets out safely. Bringing her back to the series was a stroke of genius and really helps to end the film on a similar note to the original. It leaves the audience going, "Oh, I can't wait to see what they get up to." At least, that's how I take it. Filming began in Toronto on April 29, 2005, and was originally scheduled for just 21 days, but stretched to 25. Compared to Saw's measly shooting budget of just $700,000, Saw 2 had $4 million to work with. This meant everything needed to be ramped up from the original. So instead of just one room, a la the bathroom, the characters have an entire house to work with. In just 3 weeks, production designer David Hackle built 27 different sets on the soundstage, including a recreation of the original bathroom. Tobin Bell and Shawnee Smith would return, but we'd also see the return of Dina Meyer as Detective Carey. The rest of the cast would be made up of various recognizable faces like Donnie Wahlberg, Frankie G, Lyric Bent, Beverly Mitchell, Eric Knudsen, Manuel Vaugier, and Glenn Plummer. Most of these actors were not given full scripts in hopes of preserving the ending. And while the first Saw got the reputation for its violence, we are often just seeing the aftermath of Jigsaw's games in that one, with a lot of implied gore. But the producers wanted to try something different and instead show the traps from start to finish. This meant an even tougher time with the MPAA, a battle which they mostly won. One of the most stunning feats of the movie involves the needle pit. Taking a total of 120,000 needles, they replaced the needle points with fiber optic tips. This was a process that took 4 people a total of 4 days in order to accomplish. And hilariously, 120,000 still wasn't enough. And there's a considerable amount of styrofoam beneath the needles to help fill out the pit. A fake arm was used for some of the close-ups. And also to note that Shawnee Smith was pregnant during all of this. Talk about being a trooper. She actually kept her pregnancy a secret during production until her daughter accidentally spilled the beans to Bousman. For Vaugier's death, Bousman had originally envisioned it as a hand trap. He knew that he wanted her hands to be trapped in a box-like structure, but wasn't sure how to get there. So trap designer David Hackle was tasked with figuring that out. The design they landed on utilized blades that would prevent the character from retracting their hands, once they entered the box, that is. Hackle has since commented that there's actually a box with a key on it that Addison could have used without putting her hands in the device. Ouch. Don't tell Addison. For the scene where Obi has to enter the furnace in order to grab 2 hanging syringes, the team built it in 3 days with fully functioning fire. They of course used a stuntman with flame retardant gel, and it plays wonderfully. Practical fire just hits different, especially after the many years of CGI fire that we've been putting up with. While the characters may have been dying of a mysterious poison in the film, actor Eric Knudsen was contending with his own sickness during most of production, having the flu during most of his scenes. So maybe hair and makeup doesn't have to do quite as much as you'd expect. And I can't miss my opportunity to mention that our very own The Arrow, John Fallon, appears in the film as video techie. He even gets a line.
Carrie, we got a lock. We got a lock on the house.
So proud of our boy. Charlie Clouser returned to score the film, and just like the original, really elevates the material. I will never tire of hearing those signature Saw strings. Saw 2 released on October 28, 2005, and brought in an impressive $31.7 million on its opening weekend. It would end its run at over $147 million worldwide. Despite bringing in all that dough, the film took an absolute beating critically, earning a 37% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The critical consensus was that Saw 2 is likely to please the gore-happy fans of the original, though it may be too gruesome for those not familiar with the first film's premise. This would be producer Greg Hoffman's final film. He sadly passed away in December of 2005. He would be posthumously credited on all of the Saw films, even having one of the major characters in the sequels named after him, Detective Hoffman. It's a wonderful tribute to someone that was so important to the franchise. What's truly incredible about Saw 2 is that the start of filming to the completion of the film was less than 6 months. That's an astronomically short time to fully film and finish a movie, and yet they were somehow able to accomplish that. While the quality of the film can be argued amongst the general public, Saw fans have made their love for it known, and its short turnaround time allowed for the series to release annually, all the way until Saw the Final Chapter. While the series took a bit of a break, with other entries breaking the annual release schedule and being of mixed quality, it's coming back in full force with the 10th entry, suitably titled Saw X. It should be a return to form for the series, as it allows us even more of John and Amanda's relationship, which we only really get to see a hint of in this film. It's one of the most intriguing aspects of the entire franchise, and I cannot wait to see more of it. Because, oh yes,
There will be blood.